This week on Choice Hacking.
Come on, Jeff, get him!
Welcome to part 2 of our deep dive into the psychology and behavioral science at work in Amazon's customer experience. As you can tell from that intro song written by comedian Bo Burnham, Amazon and its former CEO Jeff Bezos can elicit some pretty strong emotions from people. And it's no wonder, because Amazon does seem to have taken over the world, for better or for worse. Unsurprisingly, their use of psychology and behavioral science has helped smooth the way for their growth. Last week, we talked about how Amazon used the power of free, the cashless effect, and defaults in its customer experience. So check out that episode if you haven't yet. I'm Jennifer Clinehens, and you're listening to Choice Hacking, a podcast about applying behavioral science and psychology to business, marketing, experience design, and more. Join me today as we unpack 4 more ways Amazon uses psychology and behavioral science principles in its experience, knowingly or not, and how you can steal a few of their secrets and avoid some of their ethical missteps to improve your or your client's business. But first, I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's podcast, Audible. Just kidding. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you who support our efforts by hiring us to do consulting projects, coaching or training your team, or adding a certificate to your resume with one of our 5-star courses. Choice Hacking's mission is to get 100 million people using psychology, behavioral science, and AI to craft more effective marketing and customer experiences. To learn how you can work with us, just visit choicehacking.com. There you'll find tons of free resources and more information on the ways Choice Hacking can help you, your team, or your business level up. That's choicehacking.com. Now, on to the show. Have you ever visited a grocery store and seen a free sample booth? Were you tempted to try a nibble of cheese or maybe a sip of wine? Brands know that free samples are a powerful driver of sales. In fact, one study found that free sampling drove product sales by as much as 2,000%. And it works for more than just food. Free samples can drive sales for all sorts of products, from apps to eyeglasses and everything in between. But why does sampling work so well? Well, it's down to a psychological principle known as reciprocity. Reciprocity is a social norm that describes how we feel like we have to return one positive action with another positive action. Social norms are those unwritten laws that every culture or community has, and they dictate what's acceptable or unacceptable behavior. It's why you feel like you owe a favor to someone who's done you a favor. Reciprocity is one of those invisible guardrails, or that voice inside your head that tells you what you're supposed to do. And it can find its way into business as well. One study found that if customers were given a free piece of chocolate when they entered a store, they were 42% more likely to make a purchase because they felt that invisible pull of reciprocity to return the favor. Unsurprisingly, Amazon uses the reciprocity principle as well, but maybe not how you'd think. When browsing digital books in Amazon's Kindle store, customers can get a peek at a potential purchase's contents using the Look Inside feature. Because Amazon and the authors have essentially given you a free gift by letting you read part of the book, you feel indebted. Now you're more likely to purchase the book because you subconsciously want to return the favor. It's a pretty clever way to use sampling in the digital realm. Next, let's talk about one of my favorite psychological principles for improving customer experiences, the peak end rule. This principle says that people remember an experience based on how they felt at its most intense point and its end, not the average of every single moment. And those memories help them create opinions about that experience and if they want to repeat it. Amazon applies the peak end rule by taking the friction out of the 2 main pain points in any online purchase: payments and shipping. When Amazon has your card on file, payments are invisible. You just click buy now and the product is on its way to your house. And for Prime members, shipping is a breeze as well. One of the primary benefits of Amazon Prime is free and fast overnight shipping. Prime takes the friction out of waiting for your order to arrive, and it makes buying online easier and more attractive than getting up the next day to try to find that product in a store, or even searching through another online shop's inventory to find a better deal. When our freedom to have something is limited, the item becomes less available and we experience an increased desire for it. However, we rarely recognize that psychological reactance has caused us to want the item more. All we know is that we want it. That's a quote from Professor Robert Cialdini talking about scarcity in marketing and how scarcity can create a desire for something that wasn't there before, just because it's less available. Scarcity says that humans place a higher value on something that's scarce and a lower value on abundantly available things. Amazon uses scarcity, or perceived scarcity, to its advantage in a few ways. Their deal of the day is, as the name implies, a deal so good that it's only available for 24 hours. Usually these deals also have upper limits, so there might be only 1,000 of these products available. Another way Amazon drives the perception of scarcity is with Cyber Monday deals. Amazon in the past has been accused of falsely inflating an item's price and then putting it on sale. This is an example of using scarcity in an unethical way, but Amazon are far from the only brand who've been accused of jacking up a product's normal price just to mark it down for a limited time as a tactic to drive sales. I think it goes without saying that you shouldn't do this. In fact, in some U.S. states and countries, the practice is actually illegal, so definitely do not do it. Amazon also employs scarcity in its Woot sale section. These offers not only feature a ticking clock, counting down how much time is left to grab the deal, but they also have limited available stock. Now customers feel like this even scarcer deal, and therefore more attractive. Scarcity is one of the most basic and commonly used marketing psychology tactics out there, but I want to leave you with a word of warning about scarcity. A recent study actually found that using limited time offers like these is much more effective in a physical retail store than in an online or e-commerce context. Not to mention that if you overuse or overmessage scarcity and FOMO tactics like these, there is a wear-out effect. People will just stop responding to them, or even worse, they'll start expecting them. The blessing and the curse of Amazon is their product selection. It's massive, and it can overwhelm some customers. And while some marketers might say that reducing options is the only answer, that's actually only half true. For some brands, like Amazon, studies have found that an abundance of overall choice can signal quality to customers. And that makes superstores like Amazon or Walmart the first stop when customers are searching for a new product to buy. In fact, you might be shocked to learn that as of 2023, a whopping 50% of all product searches start on Amazon, and only 31.5% of them start on Google. Even fewer, just 14%, start on a retail or brand website. So that means if someone wants to buy a new Black & Decker toaster, the first place they type Black & Decker toaster is most likely on Amazon. So if, contrary to popular marketing belief, having lots of inventory can actually be a good thing for some brands, what about when it comes time to make a decision? Well, that's where we need to start parsing down our toaster options from 755, yes, that's how many results came up when I searched for toaster on Amazon, to a slightly smaller number. One way Amazon does this is by using the authority principle. The authority principle says that people tend to trust and follow those in positions of power, such as the police, government leaders, professors, and perceived experts. When customers are searching for toasters, results labeled Amazon's choice will appear in almost every category. People who are potentially overwhelmed by the number of toaster options available will assume that if anyone knows which products are best, it's probably Amazon. Amazon takes the authority principle a step further with its editorial recommendations. They provide even more information from third parties to help customers decide which toaster is the best toaster. These reviews are even shown in the search results on Amazon, so customers don't have to click away from their product search. There's no doubt that a large part of Amazon's revenue comes from applying the psychology and behavioral science principles we covered in Part 1 and this episode, Part 2. But these tactics weren't discovered in a day. They're the byproducts of years of testing and optimization with billions of behavioral data points. And a strong understanding of applied psychology and behavioral science definitely helped. Thank you for listening to the Choice Hacking Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate and review it. It takes me 20 plus hours to put together every episode, and it helps the podcast find new listeners when it has more feedback. And don't forget, you can learn more about behavioral science and psychology applied to business when you subscribe to the free Choice Hacking newsletter. You'll join more than 8,000 brilliant UX, CX, and marketing folks from companies like Google, Coke, and Disney who get my newsletter. To sign up, just visit choicehackingIdeas.com. That's choicehackingIdeas.com. Until next time.
I hit recorded, drop, you can't ignore it. I'm transforming now these cars and planes, I'm always boarding. Just out touring down in Charlotte like I play for